How was that? What'd you experience?
It's actually quite amazing. Like every time you were describing like a specific area that you were working on, I could feel like different energies going, or like when you're doing the vibrating or the blowing, like I could feel like the vibration. Um, what else? Like I had tingling in some places. When you did the back part, like you were doing something with my ribs, like that was that was big because that felt amazing.
You started coughing so crazy.
I usually do when I get Reiki or sound healing.
As you were
It'll
coughing, I felt the pain that your lungs experience. It's a tautness, it's a tightness. It's like the
yeah.
fibers are stretching so hard, they feel like they're going to snap, which is why I think you've gotten used to like holding your ribs down and stifling every time you cough, sneeze, hit
Yeah.
anything, like your whole life. You've kind of just learned that.
Yeah. So it's like hard for me to, my body always wants to go like this. And
Mhm,
I
mhm.
have to remember to keep it open, and like even doing like yoga with the blocks and things is amazing. But it's like just really holding myself to expand.
Working in your chest, I saw so many black flecks and specks, brown too. Some of them were wet, a lot of them were dry, kind of like ash or confetti. And that's when you
Mhm.
started coughing, when it's like those little tiny, it's like pepper. It's like if it just sprinkled you with pepper all on the inside. But that's the first time I've ever done a session like that where I'm kind of like describing what's going on. So
Uh-huh.
I had to split myself in a way, which is interesting. So I really
I
appreciate
thought
that. Yeah.
I thought it was really neat. Prayers at the end, and like the people that came and showed up, and it just like every single one of them like called to me. And
Especially behind you. There's so
yeah.
many earth spirits behind you. To the left of
Yes.
you is extraterrestrial, though. Interesting to hear what people say. Everyone has their own unique experience with it, and there's a lot of overlapping. But coming from a person like you say yourself, not as visually um, oriented with this kind of stuff, and that's totally fine. You get it lots of other ways and a lot of sensitivity to make up for that. But I feel like you still did see some swirls, is what I hear. Little flashes of
Hmm.
color that come and go.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay. And
It doesn't say. Yeah. Yeah. Usually, like I'll get like just flashes, and I can't. It's not even long enough that I can really understand what it was.
I was with yours, I was seeing the shapes. Um, I was hearing a few times, but not as much throughout the whole of it. But I did see, I'm being reminded and shown right now the flashes of color from your knees, especially your right knee. It was like blue smoke that just went poof, like that.
Oh
I
wow.
think at one time it was green and blue. And then when we connected you down to Gaia, it was red. Just at the very, very bottom. It didn't come all the way up, but you're mostly like green all the way up through. And the blue wants to shine through. Okay, I'm getting this right now. Do you mind if I just relay some information? So
Yeah.
part of the disconnect that you sometimes feel lately with you on your path, you're on the right path, but sometimes you don't feel as efficient, or that you've got like sticks on the path that are like cumbersome to walk over. That's
Hmm.
typically because you're in the realm, kind of relative to Carolyn too, where you're trying to be the researcher, the knower, the knowledger, more than the healer, more than the healing. And part of that is what we mean is letting the path unfold before you without having to dictate it, because there's this aspect of you that it's not bad or anything, but it's like you're extraordinarily inquisitive and very curious and interested in all the stuff that comes along the path. So it's like you kind of want to stop and smell the daisies like to a great extent before you let the flow take you. They're saying, trust the flow, let go for the times right now. There's other times in your life where you'll slow down and you'll have like that kind of like slow meandering presence, where you just stay put and let the building or the construction of whatever it is you're doing or working on in yourself to come to you. But for right now, you need a certain swiftness and flow that's unhindered for you in this year. It will start to slow down again in the autumn, but right now it's gearing up. So you gotta, like, your mantra's gotta be like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Like I'm seeing
Okay.
Dory right now. Or like do stuff with water too. You need the water.
Okay.
Green tea to reduce the inflammation, help you pull the gunk out of your liver and your heart and your lungs. There's like the interlacing between those three things. The pathways themselves have most of the impediment. It's not in the actual organs or the systems themselves. It's in the pathways that connect it all.
Okay.
I see it as like fibers and like, how would you say it? You know how like if you flash freeze something really quick and then you look on the top of the surface, especially if it's like liquid and it has like all those little crystals that form out and it kind of looks like fuzz or hair. And if you zoom in really far, it's like every little crystal is like laying all sorts of different directions. It's really pretty. Like I'm seeing that, but just in your chest area. It's your energy. It crystallizes there. It's not meant to. That's to, okay, so that's connected to a past life. Tibet.
In Tibet.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
In the 1800s, 1864. Before then, but the one I'm seeing right now connected to what we were just talking about with the crystallization in your chest, you were a man. And I'm seeing you at 26 years of age right now. Or 1862 or 1860. It's 1864. They're reminding me. Yeah, so 26. Oh, okay. So that would be 1838 is when you were born.
Yeah. You said something about pancreatic infection or something.
Oh, yeah. Viral stuff in there. You have some bacteria though, too, for 6 years.
For 6 years.
Did you go to Mexico or something 6 years ago or like 7 years ago or something? 6.5.
Went to Brazil.
Because I'm seeing like a Latin American country and it's south of the border. So getting is you picked it up there and it's seeded. And then
I got really sick after I was in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, okay, really sick.
Was
that's when I got.
Is that about 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that was the seed. And then sometimes infections will wait. They'll have like little pockets, little enclaves, and they'll wait until conditions are right. Usually when a virus comes along, a state of chronic systemic infection, there's usually always some sort of infection involved. That's the physiological standpoint, okay? But from the vantage of the emotional body, it is connected to the immune system, the physical immune system, in that when we as sensitive, psychic, loving beings, often star seeds, who aren't as shell-shocked from living on Earth as other souls are, we'll say that way, there's a tendency to take on and retain what is toxic from a lack of, I like to say it instead of boundaries, because you hear these days the colloquial term boundary thrown around, but boundaries limit us. But when we make decisions and make choices, that is to say, if we come up to a fork in the road and we erect a wall, i.e. we create boundaries, that's one way to prevent going right. But another way to prevent going right is simply choosing left and not going right. So you have to use a sense of choosing and then releasing the other option kind of thing. But it's related to that kind of thing. If you view the world and you subconsciously take on the tasks of the world, we could say, being the savior of everybody simply by your presence. Sometimes engaging in a conversation itself is a healing session, a healing practice. We don't think of it that way, but the body is there, the emotional body, and even the physical body is there too. I hear your roads. You gotta fill the cracks with tarmac,
Gotcha.
and get the crew out there and have it be a crew. So it's like there's not just one dude working, 5 people watching, but in your crew, you got everybody working. You know, got the hazmat suits on and smoothing
Clean it
stuff
out.
out, brushing it
Clean
up.
it out.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Okay.
there's dust on it. So when cars go by, when energy particles move from place to place, coast to coast, country to country. That's what I'm hearing right now. You can see the tire marks behind them, and there's this plume that erupts. And so you can take, this is really interesting. I'm getting like hardcore visuals. You can take certain types of energies that are associated to certain organs / organ systems, not just the physical organ, but the emotional organ too. We can talk about that in a little bit, but it'll take a flavor or variety from, say, the liver and pull it into the spleen or the pancreas and kind of like mix colors together. I'm seeing, like, you know, when we were kids, we had like multiple glasses and then food coloring. You could drop little drops and just watch it bloop like that. And there's always that one kid who's like, let's mix red and blue or red and green. And it's like, blue. And then it looks cool at first, but then after a while, it's like, ooh, brown. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a big
That's
brown
what it
mush.
looks like. I carry a smoke trail. Yeah. Yep. It's like red shouldn't be with green. That's what I'm seeing. It's red and green for you. It's so that, to me, I think that's heart, red, and green liver. You might, we could geek out now with like herbal stuff and bring it back to the herbal podcast kind of nature.
Yes.
And from my vantage point, and I can explain a little bit out from the traditional Chinese medicine perspective too. But so with Chinese metaphysics, Chinese medicine, and feng shui, and martial arts, and many other cultural variants in Chinese culture all stem from a very ancient knowledge system that we were talking about yesterday, about the 5 elements, or a better way to literally translate it from Chinese, the 5 movements or 5 phases. Because when we think of 5 elements, we conceptualize of these stationary things that are symbolic in nature. And that kind of comes from the lens of the West, and we kind of view the world that way, or tend to. But traditional Chinese culture understood that things are always moving. But as far as the body's concerned, with the liver and liver channel, it regulates certain physiological properties in the body, but there's an emotional component that's tied to these physiological processes. And very simply put, the liver energy at its best is patient, is coursing, is commanding. It's like the expression, she or he runs a tight ship, in all the positive sense you can. That's on one hand. On the other hand, when it's defunct, it's angry, it's frustrated. The tiger is an animal associated with wood. The wood element is also associated with the liver. Just like a tiger in nature has a lot of patience when it's hunting.
Right.
It'll bide, so it'll constrict, it'll pull, it'll control, it'll latch down, it'll tighten. The sour flavor in foods and herbs goes straight to the liver channel, because that's the liver's course. That's the quality of the energetic exchange of the liver channel. And this is not just with your physical body, it's with your emotional body too. So anger, frustration, or patience, that is mixing in an inauspicious way, I hear, with heart energy and or pericardial energy. And we'll explain that here. So fire as an element in nature, in feng shui, in the human body, it's lively, it's heat, it's movement, it's exchange. It fuels the qi, and the metabolism and all sorts of other things physiologically. Emotionally, it talks about pleasure or joy at its best, at its worst, bitterness, resentment. So if you take a pure joy and flip it from the shadow, I guess you could say colloquially, because it's a very Western concept to talk about shadow and light and stuff like that, because there's like that
Right.
contrast. But according to Chinese medicine and with Chinese metaphysics, there's that flip side of it where if it's stationary, especially if fire energy is stuck, it'll burn a hole wherever it's at. And that is true with emotional energy as much as with a lot of heart-related conditions and even asthma and stuff like that affects the heart and heart channel. The pericardium, though, is also involved with the heart, or the pericardial channel, you can say in Chinese medicine, but they call it the triple burner. So it really talks about the 3 metabolic / energetic junction points within the body: the top, the middle, and the bottom or lower. And that, as I'm explaining this, I'm getting visuals and channeling more information again about the exchange of energy in your body, the chi, the tightness. Because so you get the reason your body gets tight is because energy stagnates at the poles or at the cities when it should be on the road. It's like the traffic. It's like the traffic inside the cities, i.e., this city over here is the liver and liver channel, and this city over here is the heart and heart channel, or the pericardium, or the triple burner channels, and the roads are the networks in between. But yeah, it's like the roads are relatively empty there, so they kind of like get stuck. But then because they get stuck, you've got colors wanting to mix in spaces that they're not supposed to go.
Gotcha.
You've got energies that are mixing that are not supposed to be mixed. And this is all subconscious. Yoga helps you out with that.
Yeah, for sure.
You should engage in water energy, water movement style yoga. And by that, they mean mountain and stream. So not just about strength and inner core, because that can kind of tend to stagnate the liver channel and the heart channel / pericardium. So you could do qigong exercises though too, but the water.
Qigong's been calling to me for a long time.
Okay. Then you can literally apply what's coming out of my mouth right now, in a apples for apples way, because water movement, especially in Tai Chi Chuan, it's liquid and smooth. Water flows through the path of least resistance intuitively. Water doesn't sit and think and ponder. That sit and think and ponder is the wood energy, because wood or vegetation has roots and soaks the water up. It collects and then it pulls and holds it there. So it's that constriction, that sourness, that bind, that patience, that anger, all of that energy there. And this relates, they're connecting me back to when we were talking about earlier, that sometimes you don't just go with the flow. You'll go on like step 1 or 2 and be like so mesmerized by what you see that you'll want to like stop there and take notes on every freaking aspect of it. We're talking about like you needing to be the teacher, right? But you need to be more of the practitioner this year. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what I said, but they're showing me like they're rewinding it like, and that's like showing us in that time there. So we can go back and rewind and listen for exactly what I said. But yeah, they're showing me there's a connection there.
Okay.
Marshmallows roasting on an open fire outside.
Those are so good.
Yeah. It's big too. It's like the giant ones. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know what that's about. I feel like it's in Sedona or around thereabout, I'm hearing.
Nice.
Yeah. You might be there this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to go there.
Would you already have it planned?
Yeah, it's part of our thing, but we haven't.
There you go. Yeah,
made it there yet.
Something special is gonna happen.
Nice.
Something special is gonna happen there. It's gonna take you by surprise, I'm hearing. The sky will be so clear that night. There won't be a cloud in the night sky, but there will be lots of stars. And I'm seeing Orion above the mound, whatever that will be. In that moment, we're seeing future stuff. So not the mound, but it's like those Flintstones looking monuments where it's like the water underneath, and it's like an arch like that.
Oh yeah, like the
like
colorful
yeah, it's like a rock arch.
moments.
When usually there's a range of herbs, I feel like a lot of herbs, like I'm getting 85, 86% again for whatever reason. The lowest end of the range is effective for you. So you're a lightweight when it comes to herbal medicine.
Oh yeah, I already knew that. So like
We're talking like sprinkles.
If I take too much, yeah, it's I don't detox it well at all, or I'll get detox sickness, or
you need another team behind you who's going to incentivize the people in those crowded cities to actually go on vacation once in a while, because they're not convinced that they want to go on vacation all often. But the ones that are convinced to go on vacation ruin the vacation for the other people because they bring the wrong energy to those vacations. You astral project like a crap ton.
I astral project.
A lot more than I do.
So my roommate said too, and I was like, well, I don't know.
You do a lot more than, well, I don't. I used to do that a lot more when I was a kid. I don't do it as much these days, although I can, but you do it a lot more than I do. Did you want to talk about anything else, or was there anything else you want to bring up, or any questions or comments? Or
in the healing, you said something about like that energy isn't yours or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And that
was in your, between your solar plexus and your sacral. So it's like in the upper GI tract, or the upper half of your small intestines. Oh,
that is literally where I have been feeling weird energy. And I'm like, okay, like I just had to keep telling myself that it wasn't mine. I'm like, this doesn't feel like it's mine.
There you go.
And I've been sitting here trying to figure it out and figuring it out. Like, what is this? And you literally just said the exact location.
That's cool.
That I have been feeling that.
We were drawing a really complicated structure for that because it was fairly massive, or that, not literally, but so to speak. There was a lot of it there.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, and we're just pulling it down and giving it thanks, taking its time. But that was a big portal, if you will. That was a big hole, a big space, a big door for that to go forward.
Gotcha. So interesting. But I'm blown away that you just, anyway. It's like that specific spot.
Yeah, how'd you feel at that moment? Did you feel anything there?
The whole time I could feel like the different, like I could feel energies moving and different things. Like when you did the vibrations in that area, I also felt it like, and then afterwards I felt like releasing, like, you know, like the
how did that feel? I'm curious.
It feels like it, like kind of like a balloon went out, you know what I mean? Like you let go of a balloon and it just like kind of flows away, like, you know. That's sort of what kind of felt like I could feel like the energies kind of just dissipating.
I'm seeing a scene like farmland and like a barn. The barn's to my left and it's like sunset, like twilight. There's a forest in the distance, but there's like fields of it's not late season corn, it's mid-season corn or early, where it's just the stalks are like 2 feet tall. That's about it. But it's pretty flat. There's no rolling hills or anything. And you can hear the crickets chirping.
It's got to be Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere in Iowa.
There's a decent chance, isn't there? Yeah, I just heard it is.
Yeah.
It's a big barn. It's like double story. It's like 2-story.
Maybe my grandma's.
There's a major river nearby, but not on that property. It's like 5 miles down or something. Major as in pretty, like.
Is it like Mississippi River? Probably.
Could be. Does that run down through Iowa? It does, don't it?
Yeah, that's got to be.
Do you have relatives on the east side of Iowa?
Yeah, Muscatine. A lot of them.
Is that where they're from? They're like by the Mississippi, huh?
Yeah.
Like Davenport, that kind of area?
Yeah, they're over in Muscatine, a little south of Davenport. My dad grew up over there. So
Wow.
that's somewhere, maybe my uncle's farm.
You'll have a momentum go. But I actually just heard someone interject for you. I think it might even go to a 6th week, 6 weeks.
Okay.
You take maybe like 5 and 5, 5 weeks, 5 days of like this, but things becoming more clear to you that you need in your life, everything and everyone and all investments that are truly aligned with you and those that are not, getting a lot more clear.
Okay.
Yeah. To the point where you might feel the pain of it or the not pain, that's not the right word, anticipation of the Band-Aid being ripped off, so to speak, kind of thing.
Okay.
Of some of that rearrangement, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Okay.
These are lots of good things. Stuff that falls or slips through the cracks of your radar. And they're showing me again with these men on the right side kind of deal. Because you don't always notice that. Or when people's energetic intrusions, which are not warranted and even more so not healthy for you, are allowed anyway by you because you just kind of sit there.
Okay.
Those situations in life, becoming clear in the moment to the point that you can't be distracted by yourself. Like you will be there for yourself to be like, no, hold on a sec. I see this. I'm going to take note of this right now. I'm having my attention being directed right now. I'm going to be in that moment. Because sometimes you let yourself wander too much and you're just like, wee. And you don't stay put in one mental spot long enough to digest what needs to be digested so that you can make a distinction. I'm not going to choose this right now. I'm going to choose something else.
Okay.
Rather than just by like default having it happen to stack it up. But all it takes is that one initiative, like you take your finger and you push it down, and that momentum from one makes that whole structure involved in that way. And it's like a cascade in that way. It's like the butterfly effect. And they're reminding me as I'm saying that's related to whatever connection you have with butterflies. Butterflies and cows.
Cows.
Yeah. Jersey gray cows. They're those kind of like smaller cows. They're really sweet. And the eyelashes, the brown eyes.
That must be like, I mean, my grandpa was a dairy farmer.
God, I'm describing you my visuals. I'm getting like like these farm scenes are high def, more so than some of the other visuals I had earlier. You have some sort of soul connection with the cows, though.
Okay.
And the butterflies. Blue.
Yeah, butterflies are masculine.
Blue
side.
butterflies. Oh, your masculine side. It's
yes, I had a really amazing dream about that. So we were doing our animal, like we were doing our animal card totems, yeah, and like there were several that came to me, but then the two that didn't come to me were the ones that walked beside me on my left and right. And so like I had asked, oh, can you reveal yourself to me or whatever in my dream, in my dreams. And literally that night I had this specific dream. I was in a bed and I rolled to the right side and there was a butterfly. And I rolled to the other side and it was a jaguar. So a very feminine sized jaguar. But I mean, it was so vivid. Like you could just see like the dark, like greenish blue eyes, and like then they just like came out of the shadows. It was just like I literally woke up super like whoa. But yeah, so
because I don't know if we're seeing like same butterflies. That's so cool. I see blue, like light blue metallic almost.
oh wow.
What
I do
color
like these butterflies.
was yours? Blue also? Blue one you're
The
saying?
blue and
It has like
black.
sharper, yeah, that's what I was seeing too. That's like those sharper tips. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're more pointed at the tips or whatever.
Yeah.
Are those South American?
Yeah, I think so. They
I think
go and
so too.
they migrate.
Yeah. As you were talking about as you're talking about that dream,
Yeah.
I literally heard that's because of her life in South America. But I didn't see like one specific area because I was
Huh.
asking earlier, I talked about Peru.
Yeah, you did.
You've got a little bit of that, but then you also have what I would, okay, Colombia,
Oh, wow.
like migrating from Peru going north, like through what country is that? Um what's it called? Ecuador.
Yeah, Ecuador, right?
Yeah, it's in between.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was an honor to be a guest here and to showcase this and to do something new that I'd never done before. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a good night. And to everyone listening too, till next time.
Till next time. Mahalo.
See ya.